And now the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, Parkland.
My experience here at the March for Our Lives in Winona was very bittersweet. See like how many people were coming and supporting and like making a difference, and the sense of community was very strong.
Thank you to our police. Thank you also to the elected officials who are present. As I call your name, please raise your hand so we can see you and appreciate you. First, our Mayor, Mark Peterson. School board members, Jay Koner and Jean Nelson. Paul Scholmeyer from the City Council. Kabeski is here from the county. Thank you for coming, Marie.
But then also it was sad, of course, because we have to do this. These things are happening.
Aztec High School, Aztec, Mexico, December 7th, 2017. Casey Marquez.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. Yet, as this is our Constitution's preamble, we don't seem to truly value these ideals, as guns truly put the common defense in danger. They prevent the the general welfare from being seen, and they take the liberty from the people as we're imprisoned by this fear. Students no longer have liberty. We are not free, as this fear that we will not survive another day every time that we enter our school exists in our society. And it's such a shame to see that people who think that we cannot be preventing these things from happening, these gun violence events and these needless deaths, also cite the Constitution, looking at the Second Amendment and saying, we have the right to bear arms. But do you know what else the Second Amendment says? The Second Amendment gives us the right to bear arms because of the necessity for a well-regulated militia. Well-regulated. The same people who are saying that we're not allowed to regulate guns because our Constitution says so are ignoring the enumerated words in the Constitution, which is that we are allowed to have well-regulated militia. Our guns can be well-regulated and still be following the Second Amendment. It's such a shame to see guns be equated to the backbone of America. People say guns are America. Guns are what makes America special. Guns are not what makes America special. What makes America special is that years and years ago, hundreds of years ago, we said that we were going to fight for the fundamental, inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. How can we pursue this happiness when life is being taken from us? People's lives are being stolen. Their right to life is being taken from them at the hands of gun owners. People's rights to liberty are being stolen as they are taken down by this fear of guns. And people's pursuit of happiness is stolen as well, as their lives are ended and the lives of their friends are ended, their children, their mothers, their sons, daughters. We cannot have this any longer. Truly, if we want America to be the great country that we all have come to love and have great faith in and have a great pride in, then our laws of the future must protect the children of today. They must protect the children of tomorrow, and they must protect the children for years to come. And until that happens, we are not living in the country that our preamble has set us up to become. Thank you.
Or to leave it to the adults. But they were not just a bunch of meddling kids. They were the future. We are the future. And we, the future, want to make sure that we are alive to see the future, in which we will be the adults, the parents, the law enforcers, and the lawmakers. When we cure cancer and diminish world hunger.
Action for Gun Sense. I came to know this group about 3 years ago. They were out agitating, organizing and doing tables around the country after Sandy Hook. The group was started by a mom who just, the day after Sandy Hook, said, "I'm done, I'm doing something." So 6 years now they've been organizing. So what we have, and I want to suggest that this group, Moms in Demand Action, is a wonderful vehicle for us to use. Several years ago, Mayor Bloomberg of New York set up another organization, Every Town for Gun Safety. In the last couple years, the two groups have joined, being much more functional and more effective. And
one another, we would be astounded by how much we really agree. So take action, protest, rally, call your elected officials, but make sure that whatever you do, you relate yourself to the other people around you, because that is what makes us human.
Debates and opinions surrounding the topic of mass shootings and gun violence, I do not see an isolated issue, but rather a product and example of the climate in our country. It is polarizing, it is divisive, and it is destructive. As soon as this issue is brought up, people seem to immediately draw back to their corners of the boxing ring, ready to fight it out. We have had countless school shootings since Columbine, and even some since Stone and Douglas, a little over a month ago, and we have already had 13 people shot in school, 6 of whom resulted in death. That is why I say it is a product of this issue, because we have been angry and aggressive, and it has clearly not helped. Now, this is an extremely emotionally charged issue, and it absolutely should be. We have read the details of murdered children, knowing that there are hundreds more who suffered the same preventable fate. And the emotions are undeniable. There is so much anger surrounding it, anger at the person who did this, anger at those lawmakers who refuse to even attempt any sort of reform, and anger at those who oppose gun control. But I ask that we do our best to channel those intense emotions, not into anger, but instead into empathy, passion, and determination towards our opposition.
Continue those throughout the day whenever you feel compelled. It's a lot of fun. My name is Thomas Strange. I'm a junior at the Winona Senior High School. I'm also the student council president. I have been pretty highly involved with planning the walkout that took place at the high school, as well as some other events that have been happening here in the community. I just wanted to start out by saying how encouraging it is to see everyone here, how encouraging it was to see everyone at the Capitol building today. That was a super awesome march, and it's incredibly humbling for me as a student to see that everyone actually cares. This is such an important time for us as community members to stand together despite our differences. We're all here in some sort of response to the issue of gun violence in this country after its severity was bravely brought to our attention by the survivors of the massacre that took place in Parkland, Florida on February 14th earlier this year. We as students are proud to be a part of a generation that says enough is enough when it comes to the senseless deaths of our peers.
You know, as much as I appreciate the leadership of our students, I want to speak from the parents' perspective for a moment. To the parents, it is our first responsibility to make sure that our kids are safe. We might think that we are not affected here in Winona, Minnesota by school shootings, and it's true that it's very unlikely, as I reassure my 8-year-old, that there will ever be a school shooting here. That does not mean that our children are not being affected by the culture of gun violence in this country. 2 months ago, my 11-year-old came home from Madison Elementary School and over dinner shared what he did for his ALICE training. He was instructed about how to throw objects at a stranger intruding into his classroom, or to break a window, to flee, or to hide. A week ago, I was in a meeting at Cotter High School, where my oldest child goes to school. And during that meeting, we heard all sorts of commotion in the room above us, scrapings and heavy furniture being moved. I asked my son about it later. Turns out it was their ALICE training, apparently moving furniture to barricade the doors against an intruder. This past week, my 7th grader came home from Bluffview Montessori School describing to me their active shooter training, in which she and her classmates not only had to act out where and how they would hide and protect themselves from being hunted down by someone who bought a gun legally or illegally, doesn't matter. And then a few days ago, I spoke with a police officer here in town who told me that every morning before he sends his kids to school, he tells them, "You know what your school sounds like. If it sounds different to you, if anything sounds off, you know what to do." Yesterday on the radio, I heard a 10-year-old kid from Chicago talking with his mom about how if there was a school shooting at his school, he would not stand in the back of the classroom with the rest of his classmates. He would stand in front, and he would take the bullet. I'm told that this is the new normal. I'm told that this is the new normal, that this is what's necessary. I'm told that the new normal is that we are putting our kids in a situation where they're on the front lines of America's gun war. They're the ones who we're expecting to defend themselves against a shooter. I don't know about you. I don't want to live in America where this is normal. And guess what? We don't have to, because the rest of the world doesn't live like this. People tell me, well, it's mental health or it's media violence. Well, guess what? I'm sure that's part of the problem. We have a lousy mental health care system in this country, and Hollywood has been feeding our kids stories of heroism that's fueled by guns for a long, long time. But guess what? You are 4 times more likely to die of gun violence in the United States of America than you are in Australia. You're 8 times more likely to die of gun violence in the United States of America than in Canada. You are 25 times more likely to die of gun violence in the United States of America than you are in Europe. And you are 95 times more likely to die of gun violence here in the United States than in Japan. If other countries can live without people dying every day of gun violence, if other countries' kids don't have to go to school every day wondering whether today is the day they're going to have to defend their lives from an active shooter, we don't either. marathon. It doesn't end with today. I have 3 things to leave you with. Number 1, as our last student speaker said, we need everybody. In the United States of America, it begins with us, not us versus them. Talk to your friends and your neighbors, listen to them. Listening is powerful, and we need their help to change the legislature's minds. Number 2, register with the local Moms Demand Action Group or text, where's that sign? Right over there, 64433 to get connected with National March for Our Lives. Number 3, go to Lobby Day on April 18th. And go out and vote. Because if our legislators and elected officials who are supposed to protect us refuse to do that, what are we going to do? What are we going to do?